Hey everyone, okay, so we're going to talk about supporting versus helping today. And why is that? It's because we often consider them as synonymous or the same thing, but in fact they're actually completely different. Okay, so supporting is when we essentially are committed 150% to the person, but we allow them to do their part in terms of take responsibility essentially for what they need to work on. So if we imagine a line, and we can just look at that line and go, okay, and so supporting is when we go all the way to the line, but not beyond it. Whereas helping is when we essentially go over the line and try to get the person to come to the line. And we can do that, and there are many examples of that in the world whereby, people are helping each other. And, if we look at gyms, for example, and, motivating people to either get more fit or something like that. And we can see that, we can actually motivate someone to do something, and it can work very, very well. And that person, in many cases, will actually do what we essentially are wanting them to do. But the trouble is that when that person withdraws their energy and isn't motivating that person to do those things anymore, typically, if it's done under helping, that person will just inevitably go back to what they were doing before, because in essence, it wasn't their energy doing it in the first place. So that's the big thing about helping, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as this video unfolds. And so when it comes to supporting is when we don't give ourselves away and we remain in the humbleness that we are equal with another. And in that equality, that person has it within them to change whatever is troubling them, and that they have the power essentially within them, if we can use those terms. So it's based on equality and feeling that you're not better than the person, or they're not in some, kind of victim sense or something like that. And it works very, very well because unfortunately when we help someone, what happens is we essentially are putting them down. Like we're actually disempowering the person, because without necessarily saying it so, we're communicating, you can't do this without me. You need my help. Only I can help you to get through whatever you need to get through. And so that's why in the end, it actually ingrains a person deeper into wherever they're at. And if someone plays ball with that, then they become more and more the victim and essentially more and more dependent on the one who is apparently helping. And so, you can see that in a short period of time, even, it can become quite a messy scenario, but it's very, very challenging, because how do you talk to a helper? Like, how do you say to someone, actually, you're not helping, this is actually getting in the way and creating complication for this person? Like, it's very difficult because, and we can all relate to this, that as helpers, if we're in that helping mode, we will be the first to say, but I'm doing this for this person, or they need me, or they can't do it without me, that kind of thing. And so we come to the table with a arrogance, really, that says, I'm here to help. But in fact, it's all because, if I may say, it's because we don't actually like to feel the impact that whatever that person's choices are is having on them. And so that's the big crunch. It's the ability to remain detached and do our part in terms of walking every step of the way with someone. And this is what supporting is about. It's saying, I'm with you every step of the way, but you need to do your part. And I can't do it for you, because this is your journey, this is your issue to work on, whatever it is. But to remain always in the understanding that we must remain detached. And detachment is not cold, and it's not clinical, it's not dishonoring of someone. It's actually just being detached in the sense that you don't take on the other person's issues, and you just observe. And in that observation, you can remain objective, because you can actually feel and respond to what is necessary, as opposed to when we take stuff on, we essentially become the helper who takes on the issue and then tries to work through it as if it's our own issue. And so that's the thing. But look, I'll be the first to say that it's very, very difficult when it comes to our loved ones and people that we are just genuinely very, very wanting or wishing that they actually, do make good choices. And it's very challenging when it comes to our loved ones in terms of, particularly when we can see that they are making choices that are harming to themselves and in some cases even destroying of themselves. It's challenging. But nonetheless, it is never actually truly supportive to step in when another is not ready, because it's up to them to make their own choices and to actually feel when the time is true for them to make whatever choices they need to make. And so to me, it's an absolute beautiful relationship, and even marriage, to support another, because it says, I love you so much that I can feel you're just like me and you have it within you to do whatever you need to get yourself out of this. But you don't have to do it alone. I am with you, but I cannot do it for you. That's a very, very clear communication and message. And in that, it isn't in any way heartless. It's never, cold or anything like that. However, and this is something I'd like to mention, is that when we actually go to support someone, sometimes the other person can react to that, only if they are wanting us to help them. And so it's part of getting used to supporting each other, is knowing that at times we can want help and we want the other person to help us. And if we offer them support, in that detachment, the person can feel, you mean I've got to do my part? You mean I've got to take responsibility for the part that I need to work on? And so just to be aware that sometimes that can be the case, but ultimately to hold steady and realize that that person at that moment in time is in reaction, but that it's actually healthy for them to feel that, so that they can essentially mature to what they then need to realize what they need to do and to then take responsibility for that. And so never feel guilty for supporting someone, but just remain in the understanding that in supporting them, you're not basically wanting them to do what you may want them to do so that you feel better, but you're just basically supporting them in the sense of walking with them every step of the way, but not needing them to be any different.